I would like to become one. I want to become one, but I am not yet a star. And I have to accept that if I want to become one in the future. So yeah. Just to shut off the negative noise around him, I think he puts his headphones on. मेरे को सुनना ही नहीं है कौन क्या बोल रहा है. मेरा focus clear है. He was very angry. Like, माँ किया ये. So then it is going to get rejected. कि नहीं ये entertainment नहीं है तो propaganda कर रहे हैं.
Johnny okay.
Gashmeer or
no, sorry,
it's okay, it's fine. Praveen Tarde and his wife were directing the film. There was not a single clap. There was never a wah dada wah. We used to give a shot. The director used to be like, "ए क्या किया? अच्छा था क्या? हाँ अच्छा था. क्या किया?" If that person is toxic and negative, do feel free to cut them off. Ruthlessly cut them off. It helps. Protect your aura.
Please join me in welcoming the very talented Gashmeer Mahajani with a big round of applause.
Hello guys, hi VIT. I've come to this college after 18 years. 18 years back, I was like just out of my 10th standard. आणि मला आठवतंय VIT is big on Firodia. I was just sharing it with sir inside. Yes. And yes, sir, you had called me. Yes, I should give you credit because I earned my first 5,000 rupees out of VIT. I had choreographed for Firodia over here, and they paid me for my first check out there. Yeah. So yeah, good memories from this college. And VIT had won Firodia that year. So yeah, I also deserve a thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Ishwari, your host for this session, and it's my absolute pleasure to introduce you to the man whose performances not only captivate but inspires. Please join me in welcoming the one and only Gashmeer Mahajani. Sir, your journey from theatre
You're going to call me Gashmeer.
So,
Yeah. She was asking me behind, backstage, ki, what should I address you as? I said, just call me Gashmeer. Yeah,
okay.
You can.
Okay. Gashmeer, your journey from... Okay.
Gashmeer or...
No, sorry,
it's okay,
sir.
it's fine. Gashmeer. Just,
I'll address you
I'm
with
sorry,
respect.
I'm
sir.
just kidding.
So your journey from theatre stages and onto the television and onto the big screen, it has been nothing less than extraordinary. What were some early moments which made you realize that acting was your calling?
Basically, I never directly wanted to go only into acting. I was always I always consider myself as a student of cinema. आता काय आलं ना, when I was 15 years old, there were no OTT platforms here, and I couldn't because of my financial problems. We had a few financial problems. We had to overcome them. So the Dance Institute started out of necessity because I had to start earning, and I also started an event management company simultaneously. So I started doing corporate events all over India. Some people helped me. Some good CEOs from companies like Tata AutoComp or Mercedes-Benz, they believed and trusted a 17-year-old boy and thought that I could handle their entire events, and they gave me money to handle the events, and we could successfully do so. So that's why we started earning money. So during this process, the option of going to a film school like an FTII or an NYU was not an option for me. Like I couldn't spend, say around 30-40 lakh rupees over a period of 3 years and go and learn in an institute, learn filmmaking out there. So the only option that was left was try and read as much about cinema that you can and try and watch as much international and Indian cinema of all kinds, like right from south up to the north. And try and learn as much as you can from that. So तेव्हा ना Cinema Paradiso नावाची, there was a library in Koregaon Park. There were no OTT platforms, so we were not exposed to international cinema at that time. So Cinema Paradiso had movie DVDs of all the filmmakers from all over the world. So you take any cinema, you take Italian, Polish, Spanish, Hollywood, Bollywood, South Indian cinema, all the best of it, Bengali cinema. So they had like a Ritvik Ghatak section, they had a Satyajit Ray section, they had a Mani Ratnam section, they had a Kieslowski section, they had all the sections, Martin Scorsese section, all sections. So there were 3 friends, like we were 3 of us, okay. And we subscribed to the library, and we could buy, rent out 5 DVDs every day. So we used to rent out 5 DVDs every day and watch 3 movies in a day. So morning you have breakfast, you watch a film. Then afternoon, you exchange the DVDs. Then again, you watch a film after lunch, and again at night before sleeping, you watch a film. And you keep rotating, and we finished the entire collection of cinema parodies within 6 to 8 months. That is where I got introduced to a lot of world cinema. I also got introduced to one person who's a legend in Indian cinema, that is Gurudat Saab. I got introduced to his Dard trilogy, which is Pyasa, Sahib Bibi aur Gulam, and Kagaz Ke Phool. And that is when I started feeling at the age of 14 and 15, I was in the 9th, 10th standard, that I want to pursue cinema. I want to make movies in whatever capacity I can, not just as an actor. So that is how the inspiration came in. But for me, the concept of shooting something in bits and pieces, taking that to the edit table, then going in a studio, watching the bits and pieces joined together, then recording your voice on it, slapping it on it, and then seeing it in a different light. Then somebody else watching the whole thing and creating music for it, and then slapping the music on it, and then see the magic happen. This entire process of bringing together all of it and creating magic on screen is it was very intriguing and very inspiring for me. So I always wanted to make cinema, which I have still not started making, I believe. So I don't think it's been an extraordinary journey. I think it's been a very tedious and a very slow journey so far. It's high time that I start making cinema, which I wanted to do at the age of 14, 15, which I haven't yet started. So yeah, but I'm acting. I'm acting for the last 8 years. And things are looking bright. So let's see, from 2025 onwards, we'll start making movies also in Marathi. Yeah.
Who knew this 17-year-old boy would be a film star in this coming years?
I'm not a star.
No, sir, you are.
No, let's not fight over it.
Okay.
I sincerely, like, I'm not trying to be arrogant or looking down upon the body of work that has happened in Marathi. But I genuinely believe that the kind of body of work or the kind of appeal and canvas which makes somebody call someone a star. This word star is used very frivolously by us. I believe that canvas has not yet been achieved in Marathi cinema, but if you ask me, it has the potential to achieve that canvas. But till we don't accept that we don't have stars, what is a star? You can't walk on the road straight ahead. Anywhere you go, you need bodyguards, 5 bodyguards along with you. So I need them at select places, but not every day on the road, right? So the idea is that we have to make stars. We have the potential to make stars. The audience has started opening up to Marathi cinema and started visiting theaters to watch Marathi cinema. But now you need to make content-oriented movies on a very large canvas with introducing heroes who are aspirational and still content-driven at the same time. Then I would feel that in the next 8 years, 5 years, we could start creating stars. The way a southern industry is creating stars, which, if a film releases, at least the first Friday, Saturday, Sunday is always a houseful if you have a star on board. Then after that, the content will decide whether the film will work or not. But at least the producer recovers his money in the first weekend because of the star. So that is called stardom, which I believe we have the potential to become one. I would like to become one. I want to become one, but I am not yet a star. And I have to accept that if I want to become one in the future. So yeah.
That was truly an inspiring take on it, sir. So behind your success, there lies a personal journey which shapes you as who you are today. What's some life philosophy you follow which influences the way you approach challenges in your everyday life?
I feel there are two things. One thing I learned during Khatron and Fitness. I was doing this show So I learned one thing in it is that I've stopped listening. In Khatron, whichever stunt I lost, I didn't like, and it was like very obvious that I'm going to win that stunt, but I still lost, is when my ears started opening to all the negative energy that was passing by. It's always people who are going to keep talking around you of things that you can do and you can't do. So whenever I started getting affected, I started listening to people, not listening per se, but whatever has fallen on my ears, I started, absorbing that and thinking over it. That started, moving away my focus from my goal. I started losing focus. I started losing concentration because of what I've heard. So one thing I've realized that if you have a goal in your mind, if you are extremely confident about your capabilities, about your potential, the one thing you have to do is you have to just shut your ears on anything that is contradicting to your vision. So shutting off your ears on such negative energy is something that I've learned in my real life also. That if I have an ambition, if I have a vision, and I completely trust it, and I'm ready to take 24 hours of effort towards it, take the right kind of advice, then any naysayer coming around me and saying that, yaar, ye nahi ho sakta, how are you going to do this? How are you going to act and direct and write and produce a movie at the same time? That's not going to happen. It's too tough. So it's just their insecurities just bouncing off to you, which you need to keep away. You have to protect your aura. So that is one thing that I have started observing after Khatron. I think that show, many people tell me that we would love to see you win. You are the winner for us, but then you were not very lucky with the flags and this and that. Thoda mistiming ho gaya. But I feel that I've taken away a lot more than the trophy from the show. I think in real life, I think this show has taught me a lot. And it works for me now. So it's just shut off. So when I was doing Khatron, I always realized, I don't know, there's a very big cricketer in India. I'll not take the name over here on a public platform. But I always, whenever I used to see him go through media, entering a hotel lobby or exiting or going into a stadium and stuff, I always see him with his earphones on. And I was like, अरे यार ये हमेशा earphone क्या सुनता है? But I think वो क्या सुनता है से ज़्यादा ना क्या नहीं सुनना चाहिए उसको shut off करने के लिए लगता है earplugs लगा के घूमता है. Because if at this level, if there is so much negative, there are so many negative forces working against you, then imagine at that level what could be the case. So I always started thinking कि after Khatron कि यार I think just to shut off the negative noise around him ना, I think he puts his headphones on. मेरे को सुनना ही नहीं है कौन क्या बोल रहा है. मेरा focus clear है. So yeah, that is something I've started following.
So as you said about filtering out negativity, I'm sure pretty everyone in our audience face these kind of criticism.
Yeah.
So what kind of advice would you give to them to preserve their own mental peace?
Just protect your aura. Yaar. I would say if you find an ounce of toxicity or negativity in any relationship that you're building, new relationships, I'm not talking about existing relationships, do feel free to cut them off. Ruthlessly cut them off. I think every person sitting over here should first start thinking about themselves and what their vision and their goal is, because we are all mortals at the end of the day. You have a very limited amount of time to achieve what you want to achieve in life. And बड़प्पन आणि महानता वगैरे करण्यात काही पॉइंट नसतो की अरे हाँ मेरी दोस्त है मेरा दोस्त है और but that if that person is toxic and negative, be ruthless enough to cut that person off in time, because that is going to hamper your growth. So I believe in that case, always remember, you think about yourself first, because if you become where you want to, like you reach where you want to go, that is when you're going to be able to, do a lot of things for other people at that point of time. Because I've started doing that. I feel a person's negative energy, I've started staying away from that person, whether that person likes it or not. I'm not rude at all to them, but I start maintaining a distance. It helps. Protect your aura.
Right. So I'm sure everyone here is taking down notes on it.
I don't know. Yeah, okay. It's okay, yeah, thank you.
So now speaking about your characters, you have performed in theatres as well, acting, natak theatres. So how has performing in natak theatre shaped your approach towards acting on live, on big screen as well?
If I tell you there's this, I believe there's this another myth. I believe acting on theatre only increases your tenacity as an actor. One shot, long shots we do in film also. In fact, working on film, when you're working in cuts, when you're shooting for the last scene on the first day and the first scene on the last day, I think it is tougher to, because you have to imagine that you've gone through the whole journey and do the last scene on the first day itself. So that is a tougher job, because in a natak, you get that opportunity to go through the entire journey from the start till the end and then react on the last scene, which comes of its own accord because you've already gone through the whole journey throughout the play, which doesn't happen in cinema. So it is tougher over there. Secondly, I think theatre will always add to your tenacity as an actor. In the sense, तुमचं पाठांतर चांगलं होईल, you'll be good with learning your lines and remembering them. Your memory will be much better. Secondly, you will start learning public solitude, like being in front of 700, 800,000 people and imagining that there's no one there and just being the part. So public solitude, it's called public solitude, like being in public but still being solitary. Imagine that you're alone over there and you're doing your job. So that also theatre gives you. So it gives you that kind of a confidence. But if you are under the impression that now I've worked on theatre, so I'll do very well on cinema, it doesn't work that way. Cinema is a completely different medium. It has technology involved in it, and if you cannot adapt to the technology as an actor, you will not succeed in cinema, no matter how great a theatre artist you are. But there are examples of people who have successfully transgressed from theatre to cinema. Like you have Nana Patekar sir. He was brilliant on theatre and he's equally brilliant on cinema. But he had to adapt to the technology. For example, I don't know how many of you have seen Phulwanti. पण कोणी बघितला नसेल तर it's there on Amazon Prime Video. You can just go and watch Phulwanti. Like in Phulwanti, we were observing that there is this character I play called Venkat Dhari Narasimha Shastri. He's a Mahapandit from the Peshwa's Darbar. So I'll tell you, when we were doing Phulwanti, if you see Venkat Dhari Narasimha Shastri, I don't know what is good or bad again, but you'll see that he's being very normal. एक theatric काय होतं ना की once you have your period drama ना, suddenly an actor becomes very theatrical. आम्ही असं करत नसतो, त्यांना बोला. I don't understand. त्या काळातली लोक असं का? I don't think they used to speak like that. They were normal people. The language was different. But who told you that a person is going to stand like this only and act like that only and have projection all the time? Whenever you're sitting very close to each other, you will speak in a very soft, normal tone, na? Why will you have theatrics? So Venkat Dhari Narasimha Shastri is that where there was every opportunity to become theatrical. But so on set also, like Praveen Tarde and his wife were directing the film, and I was performing. There was not a single clap on the set. There was never a wa dada wa. We used to do a shot. I used to give a shot, and after that, then my co-actors used to just look at me like that. The director used to be like, "Eh, क्या किया? अच्छा था क्या? हाँ, अच्छा था. क्या किया?" आणि मग नंतर मग प्रवीण मला विचारायचा की दादा ओके आहे का? आय युज्ड नाही ओके डन लेट्स लॉक इट. Because there's dubbing also involved. So when you're performing, you know that you have to keep your voice to a minimum because you have to focus on your face, and later on in the dub I'll get the voice up and it will work the way it has to work. So all these elements and factors come into play. So now this is something you can't do on theatre, or you don't do on theatre. This is something that you have to adapt with cinema only.
Sir, I just mentioned about Phulwanti. There's a famous line, Tal japaयचा की तोल, should save the beat or balance. There are many traditional Marathi dance forms like, Lavani and ballet dance, which are usually rooted in storytelling.
Yeah.
So how do these traditional dance forms enrich today's Marathi culture and like today's Marathi industry?
No, they do. But I don't understand. I mean, like there's a lot of Lavani happening in Phulwanti. But see, dance, let's not get only fixated on dance, whether they are enriching or not. I believe Marathi cinema जो असतो, any film that has worked so far, if you carefully observe, मराठीमध्ये एक वाक्य बोलेन, those who don't understand Marathi, I'm really sorry for that, पण ते मराठीतलं वाक्य आहे, की ज्या कथेला, ज्या सिनेमाला, ज्या स्क्रिप्टला आपल्या मातीचा गंध नाही, ती फिल्म चालत नाही. आपल्या मातीचं असलं पाहिजे. So then you get the folk forms in, then you get our hardcore heartland stories in. It's always going to work and connect because that is where people are coming from. If they're not coming from there, if they're born and brought up in the city, they've heard about it from their parents and their ajis and azobas and everything. But whatever has to मातीचा वास आणि गंध ज्याला असेल ते वर्क होणार कायम. So that's why I feel that a film like Phulwanti does well is because we have used and incorporated our cultural fabric into the movie.
So Marathi cinema, as you said, it always holds a legacy of cultural authenticity. So in your view, which is that Marathi movie that stands out as a benchmark in storytelling and cultural authenticity?
I think for me so far there's one film that has been like a complete movie. Kakasparsha, has anybody seen that film? Many of you must have. Mahesh Manjrekar has directed it. I think that's like a complete movie for me. Okay, let's take a cue from this. Deool Band works. It works with the Heartland audience.
Right.
So yeah, because though he has come from NASA and is very arrogant and is very like this and that and all that, but still he has a past with Swami, he has a past with his father over here. त्याचा वारीशी खूप मोठा संबंध दाखवला आहे, ज्याच्यात त्याच्या वडिलांचा मृत्यू झाला असतो. That's why he is against Swami. And while we were reading the script, I still remember, I'm going off track, sorry, but I just remember this memory, like when we were reading Deool Band, so initially any actor would have felt a little apprehensive की यार स्वामीन, द फर्स्ट शॉट इज स्वामींचा प्रसाद देतात आणि तो थुंकतो तो प्रसाद, आणि असं वाटलं की बहुतेक चप्पल पडणार थिएटरमधनं बाहेर आल्यावरती. माय गॉड, एव्हरीबडी इज गोन हेट इट, बट दॅट इज द ब्रिलियन्स ऑफ रायटिंग, बिकॉज यू नो स्वामी लव्स हिम. Swami loves him and he's always there with him, no matter how arrogant he is, because he knows that he has a pure heart and he's doing the right thing for the country. So no matter how much galis he gives, how much he's against Swami, how much bad mouthing he does about Swami, but still Swami is after him, like he's following him and he's always behind him. Swami कायम त्याच्या पाठीशी आहेत. स्वामी त्याच्याशीच बोलतात, अजून कोणाशी नाही बोलत. So what happens is you look at it from Swami's perspective, na? So at the end of the day the audience comes out loving him because Swami loves him. So this kind of dynamic was brilliant. So again a story which appeals to the heartland, which appeals to our spiritual side, which appeals to our spiritual beliefs. So though he comes from a foreign country, but he's embedded the whole script in our heartland. So I think this, in that way, or Kakasparshito is a brilliant film technically also. I feel these are the two films I would say. Yeah.
So, talking about Deool Band, your character delves into the profound questions of faith and spirituality. So, playing this character, how has this influenced you in the way of spiritualism?
I believe in karma yoga. I believe in karma. My mother always used to scold me because I never used to go to temples. असं आवर्जून नाही द्यायचो. It's not that I don't believe in God. We celebrate गणेश चतुर्थी. We have, आमच्याकडे 7 दिवसाचा गणपती असतो, गौरी गणपती असतात. मी स्वतः पूजा करतो. आम्ही गुरुजी नाही बोलवत, मी स्वतः, मला अख्खी पूजा पाठ आहे. सो वी डू ऑल ऑफ दॅट. या, सो थँक्यू. बट आय नेवर यूज टू, शनिवार माझा आहे, कारण माझ्या याच्यात शनी आहे, मी 8 नंबर आहे. सो एव्हरी सॅटर्डे आय हॅव टू गो टू अ टेम्पल विच माय मदर यूज टू स्ट्रेस ऑन. And then I never used to go. So she always used to scold me, Kiar, if you want to achieve something in your career and everything, spirituality is required. And I'm like, Kiar, I'm doing my karma, na? Let it happen through my karma. And baki, I believe in God. So the first, and imagine the first film that, and this is what I always used to say to my mom. And the first film that came was Deool Band. When Deool Band came, because of Deool Band, because of my first film, through my work, through my karma, I visited every प्लेस ऑफ स्वामी समर्थ. आय वेंट टू पिठापूर, गाणगापूर, त्यांच्या ज्या अक्कलकोट, आणि नाशिकला त्र्यंबकला फायनली आम्ही पोचलो सगळ्या स्थानांवर जाऊन. आणि नाशिकच्या त्र्यंबकच्या देवळामध्ये पुजारी सोडला तर त्या देवळाच्या ट्रस्टींना सुद्धा गाभाऱ्यात जायची परमिशन नाही आहे. पण फक्त शेवटचा आमचा शॉट, व्हेर ही फिगर्स आउट इंडिया @11, दॅट नीडेड टू बी इनसाइड द गाभारा. अँड दॅट्स वाय मला त्यामुळे तो पुजारी येऊन मला म्हणले की माझ्यानंतर आता फक्त तू या गाभाऱ्यात आलास, माहिती आहे ना तुला. आणि तिकडे आम्ही तो शेवटचा शॉट घेतला ज्यात मी इंडिया @11 फाइंड आउट करतो. अँड देन आय केम आउट अँड आय वॉज सिटिंग विथ माय फादर ॲट दॅट टाइम. माय फादर हॅड डन अ गेस्ट अपीअरन्स इन दिस फिल्म. ॲट दॅट टाइम आय टोल्ड हिम की बाबा, आई यूज टू ऑलवेज स्कोल्ड मी की जात नाहीस. माझ्या पहिल्या पिक्चरमधनं मला त्यांनी सांगितलं की तू तुझं काम कर, तुझ्या कामा थ्रू मी तुझी अख्खी परिक्रमा घडवून आणली आणि पार गाभाऱ्यात तुला आणून उभा केला, आणि आता मी तुझ्या पाठीशी आहे, आता तू तुझं काम कर. सो या.
Sir, just like Deool Band, every Marathi movie has somewhat impact on the audience. Sir, in recent times, basically, cinema has shifted from basically the means of entertainment. It has become influencing more of political agendas and public discourse.
Which cinema are you talking about?
Sir.
What name? Tell me.
Sir, no, there are basically many Marathi movies in
You've been told not to take names, huh?
No, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I'm just talking in general.
I'm just kidding with you. Tell me. I'm just having a good time. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so such movies. So there is an increase in such movies. So does this reflect that
You're not angry on me, no?
No, sir.
Okay. Because I'm genuine. Oh, you've got the photograph out there. Okay. Yeah, okay. So you don't have to take the name. Chala.
I'm saved.
You're saved. She's saying I'm saved.
Okay, so basically, rise of these movies, does it reflect that the filmmaking community has become like more socially aware, or does it risk losing its audience by prioritizing ideology more over entertainment?
Okay. So while answering this question, I'm also going to be very safe. Okay. So I'm not going to, whatever I say, I just put out a disclaimer because the camera is looking right into my face over here. And this could go on YouTube, that's why. But a disclaimer, this is not my opinion about any particular Marathi cinema that is politically driven as of now. I believe again, as I spoke about cultural fabric, political ideologies. I think cinema is a very strong medium to put forward political ideologies. But I feel Marathi cinema so far has not yet evolved enough to do that job. I'll give you an example, a simple example. I think S.S. Rajamouli sir has been doing it for a very long time now. His father has been writing his scripts. Now you have these characters of Bhim and Ram in RRR. Yeah? Then at a point, if you see these minor things, like there's an action sequence that happens in which he is injured, and then there's this guy who picks him up on the shoulder and they start fighting. Yeah? So हे ॲक्च्युअल आपल्या महाभारतमधल्या मायथॉलॉजीमधनं घेतलेलं आहे. पांडवांमध्ये हे झालेलं होतं, घडलं होतं. भीमानी आपल्या खांद्यावर बसवून एका योद्ध्याला घेतलं होतं आणि देवर फायटिंग. किंवा वेन ही गॉट इंज्युअर्ड देर इज दिस मंदिर दॅट यू सी अँड देर आर सम भगवा झेंडाज आउट देर and this guy is injured and he needs to be stripped of his clothes, and then you just show the Bhagwa Jhandas and then you don't do anything about it. You don't go over the board to say anything or do anything. It's a visual medium. It plays with your psychology. And suddenly, when the other hero is in dire need of being saved, there is a Agni Band that comes and hits the villain. And that guy has draped himself around in the Bhagwa Jhanda and looking like Prabhu Shri Ram, and is standing there with his Dhanusha Band through the smoke. And you have like crazy cheers by the audience. And you also like, no matter which political ideology I follow, whether I'm a right-winger, left-winger, center-right, center-left, centrist, whatever, but still at that moment, I am mesmerized. This is the brilliance of cinema. He has not at all done any propaganda about the right wing, about our Hinduism, about anything, but he's shown it in such graceful and brilliant manner that you will end up falling in love with it. So if you have to imbibe your political ideologies, then you have to be a very तुमचं cinematic knowledge हे खूप वरच्या दर्जाचं असलं पाहिजे त्याकरता. आपल्याकडे आपण ते रिलीज झाल्यानंतर देर इज अ रिॲक्शन दॅट अरे ये तो प्रोपोगंडा फिल्म आहे. विल एनीबडी कॉल RRR a propaganda film? You can't dare, because it's a cinematically brilliant film. And the way he's done, but he has kept the Hinduism ideology. It has the Hinduism political agenda somewhere, imbibed and incepted in it. But you will never call it a propaganda film. It has the credibility of a great entertaining masterpiece. But it is going to influence so many people, and whatever the filmmaker's political ideology is going to get imbibed in your head subconsciously, on a subconscious level, because you've loved the film and you've started loving the characters. It needs cinematic brilliance. I think for Marathi, we are still not prepared. We make it on such a superficial level, and we start talking about characters and the actual ideology. The characters start talking about the actual ideology in front of you and start preaching about it. So when it starts getting preachy, everybody is going to say, so then it is going to get rejected after a while. कि नहीं ये entertainment नहीं है, तो propaganda कर रहे हैं. So that, I think, for us to reach there, it's going to take some time. We have to take this seriously, that if you want to put your political ideologies or your cultural ideologies or your faiths in any particular cinema, first understand how to do it with a good screenplay sense, and how to project it without being obvious about it. Make a great movie and let the ideology flow through it very naturally on a subconscious level. So that is not happening as yet, But it could happen in the future. Like if, a few of us would start taking cinema more seriously, learning more, I think we could achieve it in the next 5-8 years. And then people would not reject a cinema which has an undercurrent of some political ideology, because the cinema is a great cinematic experience. And then you can, you have your job also done, you've done your propaganda, but at the same time, you've given such amazing entertainment that people have sat and watched it. So your job is done then. So yeah. Did I answer her question? Yeah. Yes, I did.
So, as you spoke about Khatron ke Khiladi season 14, so you redefined what it means to be fit overall, doing those high adrenaline tasks with such an ease. How do you keep pushing your body to such extremes? And what's that piece of advice you would give to our audience over here as well, to just push your boundaries, not just in gym, but also in real life?
Ooh, that bear, my God, yaar. He was very angry that day. He was very angry that day. I'm just gonna. He was. Look at me. I'm like, Ma, kiya ye. He was very angry. And the edit मध्ये ते एवढं कळत नाही आहे. He first of all, they gave me the rope. I was standing over there, and the rope is damn heavy, and that rope is going into the water also. So because of the water, half of the rope is gila, and that's why it's heavier, and it's not even fitting in my palms. And after they made me hold the rope, uske baad they went to get the bhalu outside, and the bhalu was not in mood to come out. So 20 minutes I'm standing with the rope and I'm like shouting, "Arey kab aayega? Bhalu kab aayega?" And nobody's even responding. They're not bothered. Pakad ke khada rahe. Chal. And I'm like, and by the time the bhalu came out, my hands were all sore already with the rope. और फिर भालू आया and he was not in the mood to come out. 20 मिनट उसको convince करने के बाद बाहर आया. So he was already extremely angry. And he was just pulling and then standing and looking at me like this. And I'm like, धड़. Again pulling, standing and looking at me like that. Pull करके ऐसे पैर के नीचे rope दबाता था और ऐसे खड़ा रह के देखता था. So I have good memories, like fond memories of him. He gave me a hard time. Physically, I feel you start ignoring the pain. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I mean, if you feel, because, कुठल्याही गोष्टीला ना, I feel, let's stop sensationalizing everything that we go through, our problems or the difficulties or the hardships or the physical pain. I think we have the capacity to endure everything very easily. It's not that great a pain. You have a swollen leg sometimes, so 2-3 stunts you do with a swollen leg. But if you ignore the pain, you do it with a swollen leg. It's okay, it's your job. You do it because you're going to enjoy the stunt. So for that point of time, like if you're doing the stunt for about 10 minutes or 12 minutes, you ignore that your leg is swollen. And you do it. You get to, और कुछ नहीं हुआ पैर को, बाद में ठीक हो गया पेन किलर लेके 2-3 दिन में. ऐसे नहीं मेरा पैर टूट जाएगा, मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा. It doesn't make sense. So I think self-pity and sensationalizing your hardships and pain is something that we should stop. If we can manage doing that, then Khatron is actually not that tough a show. All the stunts are real. There is a myth that अरे ये तो सब manufactured होगा, shot लेके ऐसा नहीं है. They're all real stunts and everything. But injury is a part of Khatron ke Khiladi. I just started thinking that I want to ignore it. I want to ignore the injury. And certain stunts I used to do कि मैं छोड़ूंगा ही नहीं. मैं छोड़ूंगा नहीं. Like there was this water stunt that I did where we were being put in water on a rotator and getting us out again. And in the end they had just kept us inside because the 2 of us were left. और जो breath छोड़ेगा वो बाहर. तो तभी I had told myself that I will die but I will not come out. But I'm going to stay there. So then I stayed there. It's that. So if you've just made up your mind up to something, you achieve that goal. It becomes as simple as that.
So your incredible balance of strength and determination truly shows you why you are a standout, basically.
Incredible, yeah. Thank you.
Sir, I'm sure
That's
now
so sweet.
really everyone has taken notes from here.
Okay.
But thank you for sharing your wisdom with such energy.
Thank you for being such a sport and tolerating me through the interview.
Sir. So we delved into your early life and then theatres, televisions, and then the big screen, also the Khatron ke Khiladi, your amazing fit, everything. So we are really glad to have you over here.
Thank you.
And it's been an absolute thrill to host you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So you talked about Kieslowski and Guru Dutt. For context, both Blue and Pyasa are my all-time favorite
Oh,
movies.
Blue is your favorite film?
Yeah, one of my all-time favorites. I think Pyasa conveys the character's pain through poetry and music,
Yeah.
and Blue does it through atmosphere and silence.
Yes.
So for you, what is the better portrayal, or which portrayal do you like more?
No. Both are equally brilliant at their own place. You're talking about two masters of cinema. It's like, one of my friends who was my partner in that Cinema Paradiso library, who used to watch movies with me, he later on went to NYU. And he started learning over there. And over there, somebody in the class, they were doing a writing session. And they asked, sir, I have written this. So he started saying, the professor started saying that, yeah, this script, there are this issue. So then the boy started arguing with the professor saying, sir, Stanley Kubrick in this film has done this. And I have adapted the same thing. So he said, no. There is cinema and then there is Stanley Kubrick. Don't try to follow him. He's done it. It's a masterwork. And this is not the stage where you try to, emulate him. Same goes for Kieslowski and Guru Dutt. The same thing goes for it. They are masters at their own, because anybody who's in love with poetry is not going to agree to a visual medium where there's minimalistic dialogue. I think Blue, White and Red was a trilogy by Kieslowski. So they had minimalistic dialogues and it was all portrayed through visuals and moods and colors. So that is a completely different genre of cinema. This is a completely different school of cinema altogether, what you're talking. And both are masters in their place. You can't compare. And both are, if you are a real student of cinema, you will try and, adapt from here also, and they stand tall in their own places.
Yeah, surely. And also the movies you want to make in future. Like you have watched world cinema very deeply. So do you really think that India will accept the movies, or you will get the bigger audience for those movies?
No. I don't want to make movies like world cinema. I've watched it. But that does not mean so when you're telling your story, you're telling your story, no? So you don't watch a movie like there was a relative of mine. I'll not take his name again, but he was very elder to me. So whenever he wanted to write a new script, he used to start reading books. That is not the way you do. That's not the way you study literature or cinema. Why? Because now I want to write something, so I'm looking for subjects, and for whichever book I like first, I'll start copying it onto my paper, and that will be my next script. It can't happen that way. Similarly, just because I'm watching world cinema, I'm gonna write a story like that, and I'm gonna make visuals like Kieslowski, and India is not gonna like it. Nobody's gonna pay for it. So I have to tell my story. It's just that when you watch, subconsciously your growth, your horizons start expanding. Your growth happens. You start understanding various, mediums through which you can portray your emotions. So it is a subconscious growth. You don't consciously. So if I've seen world cinema, I don't want to make that kind of cinema in India. If you're making a Marathi movie, make a Marathi movie, which is very true to the Marathi cultural fabric. So yeah, but whatever you've seen through the years, it very unknowingly flows into your work. Subconsciously, it helps in your work. You can understand literature or text better, because you've seen a lot of stuff. So you can, the grasping of any literature or seeing through the text, your power to see through text is bigger if you're exposed to more cinema, exposed to more literature, if you've read more books. It just is much more stronger. So if he's written some lines, I can interpret the hidden meaning behind it, and I can add my own meaning and tone to it. It just increases my capacity because of the kind of cinema that I might be exposed to or the kind of books that I might have read. But I cannot make that over here and expect that it would work. That is not going to happen.
Thank you.
Thank you for the detailed and indeed helpful answer, sir. Thank you, Ved, for the question. Moving on, I would like to request Palash Nikam to please stand up and share your question.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
My question for you is, what do you think contributes the most to having a good public presence? And how worried are you off screen about maintaining a good image in front of people? Like, do you work hard to maintain a good image, or are you just yourself and you let the people decide what they want?
No, I just believe in honesty. I believe you just have to be honest, and you connect with people.
So
if whatever you say comes from genuine, because I'll give you an example on this. I'm sorry, were you adding on the question?
No.
I'll give you an example that happened with me. A year and a half, I went through a personal crisis, and I was trolled ruthlessly on social media across all platforms about my personal life, about what kind of a son I am, about everything, which people didn't know about at all. So it didn't affect me that way. It affected my mother in a very deep way. And I thought I would lose my mother in a few months because of that, because she couldn't take it. So after that, after 2-3 months, there was a lot of other stand of people, like thousands of other people who came in defense that if you don't know his side of the story, you don't talk shit about it, which was happening on social media. So then I did only one interview after that. Mitra Mhane म्हणून एक channel है, Soumitra Potecha, on YouTube. You can just check it out on YouTube. It's got some 19 lakh views or something of that sort. I think his channel became a big hit after that interview. So in that, he was asking me about what went through and what the real situation was and everything. So that was a point where I could have chosen to say all the right things, consulted a few media consultants and कि मैं ये बोलूँ या ये बोलूँगा तो ये मेरे को शब्दों में पकड़ लेगा, then I should look good only. How do I clear my image? So the motto of the interview was not to clear my image. The motto of the interview was to tell the truth. Honestly tell the truth that this is what happened, and still if anybody wants to talk about it, it's okay. But this is what really happened, and this is what we're going through. And if you just go to that interview, it's just, it changed the perception overnight. But it did not happen like that because if I would have wanted to change my image and with that intention I would have done the interview on social media or wherever I'm going, I think I would have failed miserably. I think I wouldn't be sitting here then. I think Phulwanti wouldn't have been made then. Everybody would have been scared to work with me because of audience's perception. I think only and only truth works. If you're honestly speaking from your heart what the truth is, I think it connects with people on a very large scale.
Okay, sir. Thank
Wherever
you.
you are. Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So, in Sarsenapati Hambirrao, your portrayal of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj were truly iconic. Like, they gave us all goosebumps.
Thank you.
So, sir, can VIT be fortunate enough to witness you share and recite your favorite dialogue live from the iconic acting delivery?
Oh my God. Excuse my voice right now. That dub केलं होतं मी त्यामुळे. स्वराज्य हे डोहीवर आलेल्या धगधगत्या सूर्यासारखं आहे. ते कायम धगधगतच राहिलं पाहिजे. परकीय आक्रमणांच्या काळरात्री येतच राहतील. अशा या काळरात्रींना मधोमध चिरतच आपण पुन्हा भगवा रंग होऊन जन्माला यायचो.
Thank you, sir.
It was very bad. Don't post it on social media.
That was really amazing, sir.
Huh?
That was really amazing, sir.
Yeah, this was 3 years back. Suddenly, nobody, Hari, you had not given this question to me. They give questions in advance, यार. Thank God, काहीतरी आठवलं मला त्यातलं. आता पचका आहे की नंबरचा. एवढं बडबड केली स्वतःचा डायलॉग नाही आठवत त्याला.
Now, ending with the questions, a big thank you to everyone who asked, and a big thank you to Gashmeer sir for answering them with such depth and authenticity. Let's give a big round of applause for Gashmeer sir.